Good evening, Rams! And after our nice long summer break, we welcome you back to the nerdiest show on the air, now with 100% more beard. I'm Tom Isaacson.
And I'm Alex Prast. Tonight we start our third year as CTV Geeks, and with any great third installment in the franchise, we'll start with a recap.
This summer brought us all new content, casting news, movie show announcements and delays, director updates, and so much more, which we will share with you first tonight.
After that, we'll visit some local esports competitions featuring Call of Duty and Super Smash Bros.
And I will answer my Call of Duty by coming back at you with another round of Tom Talks TV. Then we'll wrap things up tonight with the rest of you, the nerds of CSU, with Geeks on the Street.
All this and more starting right now!
Go!
We here at CTV are a bit puzzled by the actions of the film distributors, HBO Max, and Warner Brothers. Popular upcoming projects such as the Wonder Twins, the Scoob sequel, the Gotham Knights series, and many animated shows have all gotten the axe. But Batgirl may be the most surprising cancellation. This surprise is largely due to killing a project with such a star-studded cast, which included Leslie Grace as Barbara Gordon or Batgirl herself, Michael Keaton returning as Batman, and Brendan Fraser as the film's villain, Firefly. This film was supposed to hit the HBO Max streaming service rather than theaters. Fans and critics alike have claimed that this is a bad decision, especially when you take a look at the film's budget, a whopping $95 million. For a studio reportedly in debt, it seems odd for them to film an entire movie, make it to the post-production stage, market it, then scrap it. Warner Brothers is also delaying the release of both Shazam 2 and Aquaman 2, some of their now flagship characters. The films will now release in March and December of 2023, respectively. Now, I'm no businessman. That seems like a poor strategy to me. Warner Brothers must be in a real Shazam.
On the flip side of the DC universe, Robert Pattinson's The Batman has made director Matt Reeves a mouthpiece for the Caped Crusader. After the success of the gritty murder mystery back in March, Warner Brothers has decided to go all in with Reeves. He's accepted an offer known as a first look deal, which would allow him to have first dibs of sorts on creating any content related to the Batman. This deal has allowed Reeves to create a new Batman spin-off television show called The Penguin starring Colin Farrell. Reeves is the first filmmaker to receive a first look film deal since the co-chairs and CEOs of Warner Brothers Picture Group, Michael DeLuca and Pamela Abdy. Reeves has said in a statement, quote, "Making this legendary studio my home is a dream. I am so excited to be working with Mike, Pam, Channing, and our teams to bring captivating stories I am truly passionate about to the big and small screen. If this is the beginning of the Matt Reeves cinematic universe, then I am all for it."
We are no longer in the darkest timeline. Community, the hit comedy show that ran from 2009 to 2015, has a possible return on the Greendale campus horizon. Dan Harmon, the creator of the half-hour sitcom, teased the progress made towards the return of the show while doing press for his other show, Rick and Morty.
How about this for a concrete thing? There's an outline for it. It would have been accurate 3 years ago to say it's a matter of when, not if. The wheels have been in motion for that long.
Community was a cult classic comedy about 7 wildly different characters attending community college and surviving Spanish 101 together. As the seasons went on, the show got more and more wild, featuring legendary paintball war episodes, clever genre parodies, and even explorations into alternate timelines. It generated a strong fan base. The often quoted line, 6 seasons and a movie, comes from an iconic moment in Season 2, Episode 21, when Abed is defending his favorite TV show, Cougar Town. Fans shared Abed's enthusiasm for Community, eagerly waiting for a movie as well. Now that it may be coming soon, the punchline may soon be complete.
The Flash star Ezra Miller seems to have put an end to the recent string of alarming behaviors. The non-binary actor issued an apology last week and begun to seek medical attention for their condition, which was undisclosed. The actor who portrays Barry Allen, aka The Flash, as well as a main character in the Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them film series, has participated in a series of violent crimes since 2020. Most recently, Miller was charged with felony burglary in Vermont after state police investigated an incident involving several bottles of alcohol being taken from a residence while the homeowners were not present. The actor was arrested twice in Hawaii this year, once for disorderly conduct and again for harassment. In the Hawaii incidents, Miller first paid a $500 fine and $30 in court costs for their disorderly conduct charge. The charge came from threatening a couple in their own house with a knife and stealing their belongings, as well as refusing to vacate a public space in Hilo, a small town in Hawaii. The harassment charge, in which Miller attacked a woman in her house with a chair, was dismissed. It appears that Miller will not be participating in the promotion of the upcoming Flash film, which releases in July 2023. The actor's crimes have audiences questioning the morality of DC and Warner Brothers, who seem determined to protect Miller after their crimes. Some praise the studio for being attentive to Miller's mental health crisis, while others condemn it for not taking more swift and final action against Miller. Only time will tell how the movie will perform amidst this controversy.
Season 3 of Amazon Prime's The Boys just concluded about a month and a half ago. Although the pandemic had us wait for the new installment a bit longer than we would have liked, it was well worth it. Season 3 is currently the highest rated season on the show, and the show itself remains Amazon Prime's most popular series. Newcomer and Supernatural alum Jensen Ackles stole the show as the Soldier Boy, the jaded and more realistic take on the Captain America man out of time trope. Fans enjoyed his profane and dated way of interacting with the world of The Boys, and if you're a fan of both The Boys and Supernatural, we've got a big surprise for you. Jeffrey Dean Morgan, who portrayed John Winchester on the long-running CW show Supernatural, as well as Negan on The Walking Dead, will make his debut in Season 4 of the series, which started filming last week. After the end of Season 3, we can't wait to see what diabolical things are in store for the next season.
Joaquin Phoenix is set to reprise his role as Arthur Fleck, aka the Joker, in a sequel to the 2019 film directed by Todd Phillips. The sequel will be directed and also written by Phillips. The film is set to be released in theaters on October 4th, 2024 from Warner Brothers, and it will be called Joker, Folie à Deux. The French phrase folie à deux means identical or similar mental disorder which affects two or more individuals. Who makes the do? Well, that would be none other than Lady Gaga, who will portray Joker's equally unhinged love interest, Harley Quinn. Maybe casting a 22-time Grammy Award winner was a good call, because we now know that the sequel will actually be a musical. Writer-director Todd Phillips noted that he chose a musical because he was inspired by a scene in the first film where Arthur Fleck danced in a public bathroom after his first murder. The sequel is estimated to cost approximately $150 million to produce. Even though we have to wait a while for it to come out, we fully do believe it will be a hit in the box office.
To wrap things up with our monthly nerd news, we wanted to give you a quick recap of everything else you might have missed this summer. First, Umbrella Academy Season 3 lost steam after being put on hold for so long, which may be the cause of the lower streaming numbers for the Netflix series' newest season. However, the streaming service just announced that Season 4 will be produced and will be the show's last. Second, Cobra Kai Season 5 will be out on Netflix next week. Characters Daniel LaRusso and Johnny Lawrence will need to recruit some new and familiar faces to combat Terry Silver's takeover. Among that group of familiar faces is actor Sean Cannon, who is reprising his role as Mike Barnes from The Karate Kid 3. The details around how Barnes resurfaces in Cobra Kai remain unknown, but we can't wait to find out how. Third, The Last of Us teaser trailer dropped last week and it looked amazing. Pedro Pascal as Joel, Bella Ramsey as Ellie were perfect casting choices. The show will premiere on HBO in early 2023. And lastly, the highest earning CW show, The Flash, is finally coming to an end after 9 seasons. The Grant Gustin-led superhero show was the longest of its kind on the CW network. The show will return in January 2023 for its final 13-episode run.
Okay, geeks, that's all the nerd news we have for you today. Let's take a quick break, and then we will dive into another adventure, Call of Duty and Super Smash Bros. Stay tuned.
Living with someone you don't know on the other side of the wall is hard, especially if you don't know how to be a good roommate. The first thing that you'll want to do to be a good roommate is make sure that you always stay quiet. Be considerate of others when using common spaces and appliances.
Hey, buddy, what you doing?
I'm just gonna need like 40 minutes. Be respectful of your roommate's privacy. Ugh, my bad. Finally, make sure that you clean up after yourself. Oh, fresh toothbrush.
Have you seen my toothbrush?
Follow these tips to get along with your roommates and your landlord.
Welcome back from the break. Last weekend, teams went head-to-head in 2 tournaments, Super Smash Bros. And Call of Duty. Let's check it. Giving any attention to video games in the past few years, it's clear. Let's check it.
Okay, how do you want to do this?
The script just said, let's check. Right here in Fort Collins, too. And certain people and places are making it happen.
So my name is Logan Flippin, or I also go by Sitch, as some people know me. So I've always been interested in the tournament organization side of esports, and I've always wanted to get my hand in being on the other side of it instead of competing. I really wanted to see if I have a passion for running these tournaments and making sure that these players have a great time at our venue. Setting up the Call of Duty tournament was actually a very fun process for me. Call of Duty is my favorite game, so I was ecstatic to hear that my manager wanted to try and host one to see if there's a community here for it. Setting that up, it was actually a fun process, but yet stressful at the same time. Of course, technical difficulties as players arrived as they tried to log into their accounts, but as far as setting up the tournament bracket-wise and participant-wise on challenge, it was actually a very smooth process with the help of my manager, of course. What esports means to me is it gives me a chance to escape from reality. Whenever I jump on with my friends, it's always a good time to allow me to decompress and allow my stress levels to lower and allow me to have a good time.
Call of Duty is a team-based shooter game. This means just like any other team-based sport, it's not just you out on that battlefield.
Teamwork is something I always preach to my team. Usually I'm the captain on my team, so that's the number one thing that I nitpick with them, because team communication is key, especially in shooter games. One player could be going off, but the other team could be playing disciplined, they could be playing better together, and so that's going to allow them to get the map win.
This local Call of Duty tournament was not the only one going on either. A Super Smash Bros. Tournament was held at the same location, hosted by the CSU Smash Club president himself, Brendan Robert Early.
Essentially, I run both the esports team for like Smash Bros. And the club, which is how we run through the tournament, and this tournament through the club.
Brendan is no stranger to Smash Bros., let alone a competition. These tournaments have actually been going on for a while now.
Well, the Smash tournament's like kind of been a thing for a while at CSU. Like I obviously wasn't the one to start it. I just kind of picked it up from somebody, but like I've been doing my best to keep it going, kind of help it grow a little bit, give it a place to thrive.
While these fun traditions have become normal to this group, finding a place to play came up difficult. Luckily, a new place opening in Fort Collins called Contender Esports was able to help them out.
We haven't been able to get a place for the last few months, especially over the summer, and we kind of heard about them, because they reached out to the esports club. And interestingly enough, they kind of were wanting to run their own weekly, and so we ran, a non-CSU weekly there for a little bit, and it's a fantastic venue. The people there are amazing, and so they were nice enough to offer the club a place to run a venue or to run a tournament with a really good space at a really good rate.
Big difference of this competition compared to the Call of Duty one is the sense of teamwork or lack thereof. Smash Bros is individual based, meaning you have no teammates to rely on.
The biggest thing you have to have if you want to get into the scene, you want to improve, you have discipline, because it's only you. It's you can't blame your teammates, you can't do that. You have to focus on what you did wrong and what you need to improve, and that can be a blessing and sometimes, and other times it's hard.
While comparing a Call of Duty and Smash Bros. Tournament obviously brings up many differences, these two games have one big thing in common: the friends that it makes and the people it brings together.
We have reached out to students at CSU, and the community over there is great. Everyone over there is super friendly. I've reached out to them, a couple of guys, to come out to the COD tournament, and I don't think they were able to make it, but I have been talking to them and trying to get them to come out here. Yeah, I actually just want to give a huge shout out to the Colorado community for our first Vanguard tournament. It was a really good turnout. We had 3 teams come in person here and the rest played online, but I just want to give a huge shout out to everyone in the community and everyone supporting us here at Contender Esports. So a big shout out to you guys, so thank you so much.
I will say that I think the Smash community in general is it's a very special thing. It's very unique, very different from any other video game community I've been in. It's just kind of the people there are so tight, and because everything is run like on a local scene, you get to know everybody so well, and you get to like almost like get an identity, and I think that's something that's really special.
I love to see esports being a bigger part of our community here in Fort Collins. But if I had to pick one, I've never been much of a Call of Duty kid, so I got to pick Smash Bros. Just because it's so much fun to play with friends, and it's a lot more strategy-based, I feel.
I'd have to disagree with you on that one. I'm a sucker for the 80s, so I got sucked into Call of Duty Cold War because, I mean, come on, I can run around as Bruce Willis. Like, how fun is that?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I definitely see the benefit. I do like first-person shooters for sure. My first experience was Team Fortress 2, but I just never got Call of Duty. So it's cool that this is a big part of Fort Collins now.
Absolutely. Well, no matter what game you prefer, you can always count on Tom here to have an opinion.
That's right, Alex. And my next opinions will be looks into the biggest hits and hardest flops in the TV and film world, coming up next.
Awkward. Do I look familiar? I should. You might remember me from here. Here. Or maybe even here.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
It can actually be a perfect moment to reach out to a friend and ask if they're okay if they seem down.
It doesn't matter how you say it.
You all right?
Everything's okay?
All G.
You all right, girl?
Oh, you cool?
You bugging dog.
Just show you're there for them.
Go on, Kelly. Seize the awkward.
Hey, you haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
Welcome back from the break, Rams and Ram fans. My name is Tom, and it's time for Tom Talks TV Tonight. And actually, we're mainly going to be focusing on movies, so it's kind of true, depending on where you watch them. All right, let's just jump right in. Now, if you went to see any movies this summer, you more than likely saw what I believe to be the biggest movie of the summer, if not all of 2022. Yes, we've still got plenty of movies to be released this year, but honestly, my favorite from the summer was easily Top Gun Maverick. If you're even remotely a fan of the first Top Gun, you are going to love this movie. It's an action-packed adventure that really puts you right in the cockpit of these epic fighter jets and has you on the edge of your seat the entire way through. Tom Cruise returns as everyone's favorite Navy pilot, Maverick. This time, instead of flying in, he's going to teach the next generation to blow up some nuclear facility or something. I don't know. Gotta be honest, one of this movie's weak points was its plot goal. Kinda weird. Anyway, among these new kids is Miles Teller's Bradley Bradshaw, aka Rooster, the son of Maverick's former wingman Goose, and the two struggle to cope with their complicated past. This movie, at least in my eyes, was exactly what I wanted it to be. A classic, man, it's cool to be an American movie that has you fist pumping and cheering. And I can't forget to mention that it's just surpassed Infinity War to become the 6th highest grossing domestic film ever. Fantastic. But now we need to shift gears and talk about what I think at least was the biggest disappointment of the summer, even though it was something we maybe all expected, Jurassic World Dominion. With a stinging 29% on Rotten Tomatoes, Universal learns a lesson that they probably should have learned years ago, which is that it doesn't matter how many times you revive a dead franchise, it doesn't matter how much of the original cast you throw in there. If your movie is a lazy cash grab that depends on people being nostalgic to get them to watch, it's a bad movie. Yes, Hollywood, you have to actually write the movie and the story needs to have some substance to it. I'll admit, having the old cast there was fun and there were plenty of iconic lines, but honestly, it's not even worth talking much further about. A sad but at least conclusive end to the Jurassic Park franchise, excuse me. I could not say that with a straight face. They'll find a way to bring it back. Look, I'm not saying it's a bad movie, just disappointing. But as we say here at CTV Geeks, oh well, at least it wasn't Morbius. But now with the big disappointment out of the way, unfortunately we got to talk a little bit more about some of the meh movies that came out, kicking it off with Lightyear. Look, I was totally down to have our buddy Cap as the space ranger we know and love. That's not where I take issue here. I guess this movie isn't really meant for 21-year-old college students, but even my 10-year-old cousin said this movie was kind of boring to watch, which is sad to hear. Also, still not quite sure I get the whole thing. Is he a toy? Is he a real person? I don't know. And also in the meh category was the latest Minions movie, the prequel sequel to the sequel that nobody asked for. Look, Despicable Me 1 was pretty alright, the second one was okay, the third one was like awful cash grab, and that first Minions movie, yeah, I forgot it existed too. This latest one had some good jokes, but I guess I'm officially old. I just didn't find it that funny. If you're under 10 or above the age of 45 and you still use Facebook, you'll like it, but other than that, just skip it. And now let's get back on track with some positivity and with what I thought was the biggest surprise of the summer. This movie blew me away with how good it was, and I expected another Jurassic World. This, of course, being Prey. See, this is why I get mad at these bad Hollywood sequels and reboots and prequels and other monstrosities, because it can be done right. Prey was such a welcome surprise that is exactly what I wanted out of a new Predator title, taking us back to a classic feel that is thrilling, exciting, and just a great watch all around. Amber Midthunder, what a name by the way, gave an outstanding performance that captivated me from the very start. So much fun to watch. I can safely recommend this movie to anyone who likes sci-fi horror thrillers. No cheap jump scares, no horror tropes, just good stuff all around. Let's dive back into superheroes and talk about the summer's big Marvel title, Thor: Love and Thunder. And I'll be honest, after a second watch, I just didn't feel that love. Now, I do think the title is accurate in selling the movie for what it is. There's Thor, there's love, and you betcha there's thunder. But where I think this movie started to fall off was its editing. The time limit of 2 hours led to some seriously weird editing decisions, and some very poor moments in visual effects, leading to a less believable effect. On top of that, the story was painfully mediocre, with many fans unhappy with the direction of Thor's character. Personally, the villain Gore the God Butcher felt entirely wasted, which made me sad, because Christian Bale totally rocked it. He created a believable villain with a great motive and origin. But again, with the editing, he felt left out. Jane Foster was also great to see return as the mighty Thor and had a great personal story, but sadly the rest of the movie dragged her down. Overall, I'm a little disappointed with it. Definitely wanted this to be a bigger deal, but it didn't receive any thunderous applause from me. And with all of that, Rams, we are out of time for Tom Talks TV. Let's take a quick break, after which we'll get to our talk to our fellow nerds about what they think about all the new Marvel happenings. Stay tuned.
Hi, Krista. Take you, Jamie, to be my wife.
The ceremony was a blast. It was just like the surreal moment of my dreams are coming true.
When we found out that we were pregnant, we were just elated. We were just sitting there waiting for the pediatrician. She said, "Oh, I apologize. She won't be taking you in as a client."
We are a lesbian couple, but she's just a baby. She's the one you're denying the service to.
And sitting there in that small, cold room, I wanted to cry, just thinking, what did we bring this kid into?
We're simply asking to treat our family the same way that you would treat any family.
Welcome back from the break, Rams. Before we dive into Geeks on the Street, Tom and I wanted to talk about Marvel's little CGI problem.
Alex, what kind of stuff is Marvel getting in trouble with?
It doesn't bother me too much, but it's very clear the CGI quality is going downhill. And I think it's probably because they're pumping out, 9 movies, 9 shows a year now? That's what it feels like.
Yeah, it's definitely a lot more stuff. And I've always taken the position of I prefer quality over quantity. Later on in the show, we'll get to interview a great guy who said something really, really smart, and it was that, Marvel used to pump stuff out every couple years, and then recently it became every year, and now it's like every couple of months. And as a superhero fan, that's really exciting, but at the same time, I really am seeing a, de-evolution of their CGI,
Absolutely.
leading to a less believable effect. And I would prefer more quality over quantity.
It's interesting. I would prefer quality as well. But I don't mind it. I don't mind the lower quality because I love the amount.
I suppose I could see that, but even still, She-Hulk didn't look that great.
A little funky.
Yeah.
Now, a few minutes ago, Tom gave us his thoughts on the latest movie and show news. But we love to hear from all kinds of geeks. We took to the streets of CSU to ask, of the new Marvel heroes introduced in Phase 4, who's been your favorite?
Nah, only Spider-Man, my guy.
Moon Knight.
My favorite would have to be Iron Man.
Man after my own heart.
Doctor Strange.
I don't
know. I like all of them. I don't have one I don't like. Shang-Chi is kind of my top in Phase 4.
Honestly, like I loved like the Wanda and what's his name, Vision series. Loved that. And then there's like this new Hawkeye girl, Haley Steinfeld plays.
I don't have one.
Doctor Strange. Doctor Strange. That's a good answer.
Probably Spider-Man. Even though it's not like new, but like I really like Spider-Man.
You know, I had a hard time thinking about this question myself, but then it hit me. I know exactly who my new favorite hero is in Phase 4.
Who's that?
Shang-Chi. Easy. So good.
Absolutely phenomenal. I love the actor too. He's incredible.
Yes.
But I am going to have to go with the Mighty Thor. Jane Foster. Even though that movie, I don't know if I'd go see it a second time. I'd probably see it a second time just for the Mighty Thor.
That's a really interesting position. Well, if you cannot decide on your favorite new hero, that's totally fair. There are so many to choose from. But at least what we at least need to know is of all the movies coming out in Phase 4, 5, and 6 of the MCU, which are you looking forward to the most?
Black Panther. Just because I'm curious what they're going to do with the new actor.
Loki Season 2 is pretty exciting to me.
I was really excited for She-Hulk. It looks really good.
Thor, Love and Thunder, and I weirdly loved it. It was really good.
None currently.
None currently. All right.
None of them.
Ooh, I'm trying to think of the new ones that are coming out. Right now, my favorite is definitely Wanda, with Loki in second.
Probably another Guardians of the Galaxy, the new one that they announced. That one seems pretty dope.
Now, Tom, if I have to pick a movie, I'm going to have to go with Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. What we heard about it is phenomenal. But if I get to pick anything Marvel, easily Daredevil. I am so pumped for Daredevil to return. I can't express it enough.
Oh yeah, no, Daredevil's going to be great. But in terms of my favorite, upcoming MCU project, Black Panther. I've never it's been a long time. I think since really Endgame that I've been this excited from just watching a trailer. It looks phenomenal, and like he said, I'm really excited to see where they go with this.
And that was easily one of the best trailers I've seen ever.
Yeah.
Now, are you or a loved one currently suffering from the phenomenon known as superhero fatigue? If so, you may be entitled to financial compensation. Well, not really. Nonetheless, Tom and I investigated potential claims of the Scorsese-born illness over on CSU's Plaza.
No, not at all.
No, honestly, I am just a huge fan of superheroes in general, so I'm just excited.
I'd say a little burnout. I'd say the first 3 phases were great, and then now I feel like they're just trying to drag it out a little too much.
It's a bit of an oversaturated genre right now.
I feel overwhelmed every time a new Spider-Man comes out, and I'm just going to say that.
Before it would be like every couple years that we got a Marvel movie. Now it's like every couple months we're getting a new one, and that's like I'm ready to be in the theaters and watch all of them.
It feels like they're kind of just ripping stuff out of the comics at this point, because after 4th phase it's going to be kind of hard for them to get back on track and get as many people involved. So that sucks for them, but hopefully they put a lot of time and effort into the movie so that way they don't blow chunks.
Now, like I mentioned earlier in the show, I'm definitely on the side of quality over quantity. And while I love it, I love seeing a lot of new stuff coming out, I am feeling a little burnt out. And it sucks to say, but there's so much stuff, it's kind of overwhelming.
It is a little bit, and I'd say as a movie viewer, I'd have to agree with you, Tom. There's a lot coming out, but I was raised a comic book fan. I mean, my dad collects action figures. So I'm loving it as a comic book fan. Give me more. As the quality drops, I'm still going to have fun. I'm still going to watch all of it. So I'm not bothered, but I fully understand why other people are.
No, I definitely agree. As long as it's fun, I guess we're having fun. Well, whether or not I've been diagnosed with superhero fatigue, I know I just cannot get enough of CTV Geeks.
Same here, Tom. It's in our blood. Thank you all so much for tuning in, and we hope to see you next month on September 28th for more CTV Geeks. Have a great night, and stay classy.